أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا وفقها في الدين يا رب العالمين وألحقنا بعبادك الصالحين آمين يا رب العالمين. يقول الله عز وجل هن لباس لكم وأنتم لباس لهن إلى آخر الآية. Here we stopped on the Hadith 1662 كتاب الترغيب والترهيب. وعن عبد الله بن عمرو رضي الله تعالى عنهما عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا ينظر الله تبارك وتعالى إلى امرأة لا تشكر لزوجها وهي لا تستغني عنه. رواه النسائي والبزار بإسناد صحيح والحاكم وقال صحيح الإسناد. Here, this hadith is narrated in Nasa'i, Bazzar, and in Hakim. It is an authentic narration on the authority of Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not look at a woman with mercy if she is not thankful to her husband. If she is not thankful to her husband, thankfulness to her husband is extremely important. Why? Because he gives his days, his nights, himself completely, his sweat, his blood for his family, for his wife, for his children. So therefore, the least she can do is appreciate. The least she can do is to appreciate. Therefore here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasizes the point that Allah will not look at this woman. Allah will not look at this woman with mercy due to her being ungrateful to her husband, due to her being unthankful to her husband. Because she وَهِيَ لَا تَسْتَغْنِي عَنْهُ, she cannot go without him. She is not independent without him totally. She still needs him in whichever ways. Nowadays, women think they're independent just because they got a 50 grand job. That doesn't mean they're independent. You still need a man. Look at the rates of children that are fatherless. They're the ones that are ending up in drugs, generally speaking, according to statistics. They're the ones that are ending up in prisons. They're the ones that are ending up on the streets. Why? Because fatherless homes. So the father plays a pivotal role in society, in the family unit. And to preserve the family unit is our most important priority in Islam. The father figure is extremely important, especially when it comes to lineage. Lineage is more than anything else. Especially preserving the lineage of that child. And to say that this child is not a waladu zina. This child is not the son of zina. So gratefulness to the husband is extremely important for the woman due to the husband's efforts. وعن معاذ بن جبل رضي الله تعالى عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا تؤذي امرأة زوجها في الدنيا إلا قالت زوجته من الحور العين لا تؤذيه قاتلك الله فإنما هو عندك دخيل يوشك أن يفارقك إلينا. رواه ابن ماجه والترمذي. Here the narration in Tirmidhi and Ibn Majah states that Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiyallahu anhu, he reports from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam saying, a woman in this world does not harm her husband except that the hurul ain in Jannah. So the from this hadith we understand that the hurul ain already exist, already have been created, they already exist. So the hurul ains are the special wives that you're going to get in Jannah. All the male folk that have iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the last day will get inshallah in Jannah. So your hurul ain, if your wife in this dunya hurts you, the hurul ain from the heavens, from Jannah, is cursing this wife. Why? Because she says, لا تؤذيه قاتلك الله. Don't harm him, for Allah will ruin you. Allah will ruin you. فإنما هو عندك دخيل. He is only there for you for a small time, like a guest. This man is to you only here in this world for how many years? 40 years, 50 years, maybe 60 years if you live 50, 60 years, if you're lucky enough. Okay? So he is only a guest to you. He'll come back to us. It is very near, very close that he will come to us, meaning come to us to Jannah, and we'll take care of him. We won't harm him, and we won't give the same behavior that you're giving to your husband in this world. Okay? So it's for husbands as well, for you to have some hope that even if your wife is mistreating you badly, at least you have hope somewhere else. Maybe not in this dunya, but inshallah in akhirah. Allahu Akbar. Subhanallah. But this hadith is a very great warning for women not to be harsh towards their husbands, not to be harsh towards their husbands, to be thankful to their husbands and to love them, have compassion for them, and to understand that their timetable is different. Their timetable is different. They have to go and give the children to school. They have to go and feed the whole family. They've got a complete different routine. You've got a completely different routine. Okay, you've got a 12-hour shift here, another 6-hour shift there, another couple of hours here. Your shift is completely different. So she must also be aware of your shift, and you must be aware of her shift, and likewise try to compromise between the two. Here from this hadith we learn that even the people of Jannah, they come to know of some of the things that are happening in this dunya. Maybe not everything. They are not known. They don't know ilmul ghaib, but they know some of the things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exposes to them of what's happening in this dunya. So some of the angels, some of the luxuries of Jannah, they know what's happening in this dunya. Okay, from this hadith we can understand this. وعن طلق بن علي رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا دعا الرجل زوجته لحاجته فلتأته وإن كانت على التنور. This I explained last week before, that if the husband is in need, and this is referring to his intimacy rights, then she must immediately go to him, because this is his haqq, this is his right. So even if she is on the tanur, this gives it emphasizes the point that if he requires intimacy, the woman must not refuse in any case, even if she's doing something important, even if it's extremely important, which is cooking. Cooking is extremely important. Without cooking, without food, nobody would live. Okay? So, therefore, same thing here. Even if she's in something extremely important, she should give that time to her husband, because this is his right. Because without pleasing the husband, she cannot please Allah. And in fact, we read the hadiths where he says even her salah and her fasting is not valid. This was a harsh statement. It's not that her salah and fasting will not be valid. It will be valid, of course. Technically, it will be valid, but it's a caution. It's to caution them. It's like a threat. Okay, it's a great warning. It's a great warning that even her salah, even Allah will be displeased if the husband is displeased. Rawahu Tirmidhi wa qala hadithun hasan. This hadith is in Tirmidhi. He said this hadith is sound and authentic. Wa Nasa'i wa Ibn Hibban fi Sahihi. And Nasa'i also reported it in his Sunan, and Ibn Hibban in his Sahih. وعن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا دعا الرجل امرأته إلى فراشه فلم تأته فبات غضبان عليها لعنتها الملائكة حتى تصبح. رواه البخاري ومسلم وأبو داود والنسائي. This hadith is in Bukhari, Muslim, Nasa'i, and Abu Dawud. On the authority of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, if a man calls his wife to bed and she refuses to come to bed, meaning she refuses to have relations with him, and he sleeps the whole night angry with her, this is without an excuse. This is she refusing intimacy without an excuse. Okay, what happens? Even the angels curse her until the morning. Until the morning here refers to until she comes and pleases him. Okay, because this is the right which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the man. Allah knows the weakness of man, therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed this. If she starts playing with that weakness, then she's going to destroy you. She will destroy you. So therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the temperament of men. Therefore these hadiths are here in order for her to understand the emphasis that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed in pleasing the husband, and without that she will not be able to attain the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Like I said, the roles are different. She if she, إِنَّ الْمَرْأَةَ إِذَا صَلَّتْ خَمْسَهَا, if she only prays her 5 salahs, pleases her husband, khalas, her jannat is reserved. Whereas us is completely different. Our duties as a man is completely different. It's not just praying 5 times salah and then pleasing your wife and that's it, alhamdulillah. No. Our duties are completely different. Our role is completely different. Our jannah and our needs and our goals are completely different. For her is to protect her family unit. That's it. For a man, there's many other things which he requires in order for him to get that same status. For her to get the same status within the confines of her home is easy. She only has to pray and look after her children and to feed her husband. That's it. But for the man, it's much more difficult. Much more difficult. A person might think that it's much easier for the man. It's not. It's much more difficult for the man. Especially in this time and age, we understand that for a man to look after a family in this time and age, with the age of feminists, is extremely difficult. How many of you are out doing 60, 70,000 pounds a year? Very little to none. Okay? So it's a bigger challenge. Nowadays it's a bigger challenge. وعن جابر بن عبد الله رضي الله تعالى عنهما قال and money is a big reason why people go astray. Sometimes you see a person, he doesn't have anything. Alhamdulillah, he's pious, he's this, he's that, he's a very good person. Money comes in, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses him with such type of rizq, and then he changes. Automatically he changes. He's not in the mosque anymore, his beard is gone, he's a complete different person, you don't know him anymore. Okay? So this must never be the case. And especially in our Muslim countries, you can see those who talk about hijrah, mashallah, it's a good thing. If you have the true niyyah, it's a very good thing. It's a very good, it's not that it's not valid. It's still valid, alhamdulillah. Until the day of judgment, it will still be valid. But hijrah, you have to understand what type of thinking and mentality goes through hijrah. If you are a person who are not being able to do your 5 salahs here, maybe for some people it might be easier if you go to a Muslim country because you can hear the adhan 5 times a day loudly. Okay, and the masjid is on your doorstep, so therefore it might assist you. Okay, but also you must think for your children as well. Your children, see, alhamdulillah, when you get put in an environment that is un-Islamic, there's no Islam, there's kuffar around you, you start thinking, I have to preserve my deen. Why? I have to hold on to my culture, I have to hold on to my deen. If I don't, I'll be ruined, they'll destroy me. You understand? Because these people, they don't have anything. They don't have no haya, they don't have no sharam, they don't have anything. They don't have modesty, they don't have shame, they don't have anything inside their vocabulary. So therefore, it becomes incumbent. When you see the kufr, you want to run away. You want to say, okay, my deen is better. Alhamdulillah. I want to stay inside the marriage. Why? Because you see all the fitna around you. But for the Muslims in the Muslim countries, because they're looking up to the West and the Western culture, it's sometimes more detrimental for your kids to be in a Muslim country. They're the ones that are ending up in drugs. Look at Morocco. Not to say all of Morocco, but to say some parts of Morocco, the kids are in drugs like crazy. It's the same as here. There's no difference. So for you to say just hijrah, it depends on the person. It depends on the mentality. It depends on your goals. It depends on how you are as a person. If you are a person, alhamdulillah, you're going to take your children out from here and you're going to put them in American school and British school, Cambridge, in Morocco or in Egypt, what's the point? In fact, they're going to have worse company over there because those people that are affording the British schools in Egypt and affording the British and American schools in Morocco, the parents are loaded with money. And those children are spoiled to the degree that you will never believe in your mind. Okay? They're worse than these kids. Why? Because they have money. Money sometimes destroys everyone. Okay? We know that. Money is a big factor. And it destroys a person's iman sometimes. Okay? You must be very, very, very careful. Hijrah, of course, if you can't do it, if it's an option for you, then alhamdulillah. But if it's not an option, don't think that, the brother's making 30, 40K and he's gone to this country and he's gone to that country and he's living a good life. No. You don't know what life is living. You don't know how his children are going to become. Alhamdulillah, we've seen so many parents here, in this country, here, within our locality, here in Tower Hamlets. How many of our parents, alhamdulillah, they made their sons Hafizs and Alims? We ourselves, ourselves are testimonies. Ourselves are testimonies. We went to Syria, we went to South Africa, we went to the whole world. We went through the whole world. Alhamdulillah, nothing affected us. Alhamdulillah, Allah protected us. But the point is it possible to make Hafizs and Alims and Muftis? 100%, 100%. In the lands of Kufr. In the lands of Iman, very difficult. In the lands of Muslim lands, that they call Muslim lands, very difficult to become a Hafiz Alim, bhai. Go try it. Go try it. Go try your kids. Most likely you will fail. Most likely you will fail. That's why those brothers that talk about Hijrah, rethink your minds. It's suitable for certain people, it's not suitable for others. Not everything is black and white. Not everything is just easy and plain, you know. Yes, okay, the systems inside this, they made the system in such a way that our taxes go to a certain, you know, certain things which we don't like, which we definitely dislike, and it's contributing towards bad things, okay? So this is something that we have to be aware of and do the best that we can to avoid. That's it, that's what we can do. وعن جابر بن عبد الله رضي الله تعالى عنهما قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ثلاثة لا تقبل لهم صلاة ولا تصعد لهم إلى السماء حسنة العبد الآبق حتى يرجع إلى مواليه فيضع يده في أيديهم والمرأة الساخط عليها زوجها حتى يرضى والسكران حتى يصحو رواه الطبراني في الأوسط. Then the hadith goes on. This hadith is in Tabarani on the authority of Jabir radiallahu anhu, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, 3 types of people, their salah is not accepted, nor does any action go up to the heavens, meaning no any action does get accepted. No action gets accepted, no good action gets accepted. Who are these 3 people? The first one is a runaway slave. Back in the days, they used to have slaves. So if a slave, he is under his master. If he runs away, then he has gone against the treaty that he's in, okay? So the runaway slave until he comes back, and he comes back in complete submission to the master, because the master has bought him. Anyway, that's the first thing. Second one, the topic that we have, وَالْمَرْأَةُ السَّاخِطُ عَلَيْهَا زَوْجُهَا, the woman whose husband is angry at her, okay? This person, لَا تُقْبَلُ لَهُمْ صَلَاتٌ, no salah, no amount of salah will get accepted. No any good action will go towards the skies, meaning will get accepted. This is the second person, the woman who mistreats her husband and her husband is angry at her. And the third one, the one who is drunk. Drunk, if you go to the Muslim lands, what is it? It's worse than here. If you think our youngsters are bad, go to the Muslim lands and see how many youngsters are in alcohol addiction. Alcohol addiction and drug addiction. Everywhere you go, brothers. You know, nowadays you can say Muslim country, Muslim country, Muslim country. Muslim country is not a Muslim country anymore. They are their youngsters, their elder, their middle class, their higher class, their lower class as well. Everyone's yearning to be in the West. Everyone's yearning to be. Look at Bangladesh, for example. Those brothers are from Bangladesh. Look at Bangladesh. They're living in Bangladesh, but they're wearing Armani. They're wearing Gucci. You're not wearing Gucci. Can you afford Gucci? You can't afford Gucci. He can afford Gucci because it's made for £2, £1. He can buy it. You can't. It's 170 pounds. Just the sunglasses, 170 pounds. So, that's the point. The point is they're looking up towards the West and the Western cultures and customs and habits. Whereas we, because we're put in the West, we are scared to go into those realms because we know what kufr can do to us. So we block ourselves from all the harams. We try to block ourselves from the harams more and more. Whereas the Muslims in Muslim countries, they're trying to open themselves to kufr. More kufri actions, more bihaya'i. Do you understand? More shamelessness, more behaviors which are like keeping dogs. Keeping dogs is something so disgusted in our uncle's generation. We never used to go next to dogs. We used to discuss dogs like severely. Whereas in this generation, it's become normal. Whether you come here, whether you go to Muslim countries. Completely normal. They're keeping dogs as pets. Pets. Do you understand what's happening now? So, just because you go to a Muslim country doesn't mean your problems are solved and you become Alhamdulillah, your solution of Islam is be all and end all. No, Muslim countries are worse. Some Muslim countries are worse. You're going to put your Islam in more danger than here. Here, Alhamdulillah, Allah has given you, make shukr every single day and night. Make shukr every single day and night that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you in a situation where you don't have to look at other people's hands, where you don't have to scam people to make a living. In these countries like Turkey and Morocco, you have to scam people for living, otherwise you can't survive. The inflation prices are so high, you can't live. You can't even buy a piece of bread. So what are you going to do? Of course, you're going to charge 50 euros just for a 10-minute taxi drive to the airport. We've seen it with our own eyes. So, وَعَنْهُ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى عَنْهُ وَالسَّكْرَانُ حَتَّى يَصْحُوَ. Yes, his salah and his good actions will not get accepted. Who? The last person, the third type of person is a person who is drunkard until he gets sober, until his drunkenness and intoxicatedness goes away. وعنه رضي الله تعالى عنه قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إن المرأة إذا خرجت من بيتها وزوجها كاره لعنها كل ملك في السماء وكل شيء مرت عليه غير الجن والإنس حتى ترجع. رواه الطبراني في الأوسط. This hadith is in Tabarani in his Mu'jam al-Awsat. On the authority of Jabir radiallahu anhu, he heard Rasulullah sallallahu, he said, I heard Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam saying, verily a woman who comes out of her house without the permission of her husband, the husband dislikes her to go out. Her husband doesn't want her to go out of the house. She goes out of the house. All the angels curse her. All the angels in the sky curse her. وَكُلُّ شَيْءٍ مَرَّتْ عَلَيْهِ غَيْرَ الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسِ. And every single part that she walks across, everything from the insects, from the animals, from the creatures that Allah, from the trees that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, everything curses her until, besides the jinn and ins. Jinn is jinnat and ins is mankind. Okay, these are the only two, jinn kind and mankind are the only two created beings that are mukallaf, that are going to be questionable on the day of judgment. Besides these two creations, every other creation curses that woman when she goes out of the house without the pleasure of the husband. Without the pleasure of the husband. So this again emphasizes the point that the role of the woman, the role of the man is completely different. If the husband dislikes something, she must not go towards that action. She must not go towards that action. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us peaceful homes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make our wives from the best of wives in this dunya and akhirah. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.